Hey everybody, welcome back to Shock and Schlock. I'm your host, Herschel Gillis, and today I'm going to be talking about the Joe Wizicki, uh, film Satan's Children from 1975. A unexpectedly dark film that is I'm going to say this before I get into the video, so um, if you're offended by this type of content or you don't want to hear about it, just skip this video. This is a rape and revenge movie involving a young boy. So the film is about, as I said, this teenage boy named Bobby who lives with his father and stepsister. His stepsister frequently comes on to him despite Bobby being presumably interested in men and or questioning his sexuality. And she goes too far one day. He runs away, sort of goes into this diner trying to just get his thoughts together, is greeted by a gay man who comes onto him a little bit, but he's kicked out of the diner by this like punk character, I guess. And the punk character asks Bobby if he wants to come to his house to stay because he's looking for somewhere to stay. To which Bobby agrees, and once he gets there, is tied up. And the man takes him and gathers a gang of people, and they gang him. Bobby, being damaged after this, runs away and finds sanctuary in a satanic cult compound, where they also don't like him because of his sexuality, and he has some conflicts leading with everybody because he falls or loves this girl that's there despite his character not being interested in women up to this point, and it's fairly obvious. This leads to a lot of stuff. So, yeah. Um, so I thought this film was going to be a satanic panic B movie. It is not. This is a rape and revenge film, but I've seen it described as like an after school special from hell. It is certainly not that. It was released from a partner label of Vinegar Syndrome as well. I forgot which, but definitely expected something else due to that, which is no fault of the movie. It's fault of my own. But I first off want to say that this film, while worth watching, did not age well in a lot of its portrayals of LGBTQ people. Um, Bobby is certainly ostracized by his family and the satanic cult, but he never really finds sanctuary. He's kind of like universally disliked because of it by pretty much everyone. And then Bobby is almost demonized even by the film itself towards the end. I'm going to spoil a little bit of that, so if you want to skip ahead to avoid spoilers, do so. But Bobby, when he joins this cult, wants to be one of them. He starts out as this like nice kid, but it just keeps building, and nobody likes him, and they sort of like take the girl that he likes and bury her up to her head and like threaten Bobby and do all this crazy stuff. But Bobby was like supposed to be this victim, but he ends up being almost just as bad. In the end, he murders a ton of people, gets revenge on the people that assaulted him, but he kills his family. Does that, brings the chopped up body to the head of the cult, and becomes a Satanist. And there's a whole thing with them torturing his sister. It's very bizarre. Um, but he becomes like this evil character himself, and there's not really, despite this being a movie that I thought was going to be like, kind of hokey, this is very dark. Um, and this portrayal was like, it's going to offend a lot of people. I'm sure it did back then to a degree as well. But in the 47 years since its release, it certainly has had some blemishes appear in that manner. That being said, the film is interesting. And even away from being a timepiece, I think it's pretty good actually. Um, this sort of switch of roles in a rape and revenge film made it sort of more raw and original in that way, but it made it almost more upsetting. 'Cause it's like even with a younger person, and I don't know, it's very shocking. Um, but even away from like these shocking parts, there are like B movie aspects to this as well. Like there's this a random quicksand scene with two of the villains. Super weird. There's like an actual like satanic voice that happens, and it's like this paper mache sort of mask and everything. So it's kind of like this DIY trash movie vibe to those scenes. The acting sort of ranges from really way over the top to being actually rather good. Bobby um, is played rather well. Um, the actor who played him does a good job. The girl that he likes does a decent job, and the cult leader does a decent job as well. But like his sister and his father in the beginning are sort of over the top and you know not super well written in my opinion. But they are, you know, there are some good actors and there are some bad in this. I also like the music in this one. The pacing doesn't. This is not the best paced movie either. I wouldn't say it's boring, but there's a good 10 to 15 minutes of this film that I say could be cut, and the film wouldn't be hurt for it, but that's a little off. Um, but it is interesting to see like this reverse of roles, and then it sort of turns into this like their revenge is way over the top. Like the rest of the film is sort of up to the satanic cult is very raw and real and nasty and gritty feeling. Everything from him going to the cult onwards almost becomes like this weird B movie. And they still sprinkle in like the serious moments too, so it's like a weird jumble of ideas. And I think that's gonna be something a lot of people don't like about this film, um, because people that enjoy the first half or appreciate it may not like the second half, and people that like the second half may not want to endure the first half because it's very upsetting. And the second half is like this weird, like graphic revenge and quicksand and gore and all this crazy stuff and the devil and yeah. But it is an interesting watch because there really isn't anything that I've seen that is quite like this. It's not going to be a film for everybody. It didn't age super well in a lot of ways, but it is an interesting exploitation grindhouse film with some sort of unique ideas that set it apart. It's also available on Tubi TV for free, so you don't really have a reason not to watch it if it sounds interesting to you. Um, and I would say give it a go. Just keep in mind what I said about the portrayal of Bobby's sexuality. Um, Definitely didn't age well, and the sort of tone shift that happens halfway through. But yeah, it's an interesting film, so it's one that's worth visiting at least once just to see if it's for you. And yeah, that's my thoughts on Satan's Children. A pretty decent little 70s movie with some blemishes, but there is a gem if you look hard enough. So, yeah. As always, though, I'm your host, Herschel Gillis, signing off for today. Zero thoughts, zero editing, zero brain cells, and zero planning. Gonna be coming back tomorrow with another review and a little bit of a preview. I got the Tsukamoto box set. I'm gonna be doing a review of all the films in that. Got Robo Geisha coming up, and I got this awful shot on video DVD set, but it does include Las Vegas Bloodbath and Blood Massacre, which I will be reviewing for sure. So keep an eye out for those. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Signing off. Make sure to keep your notifications on and subscribe if you haven't. Thanks for watching, guys.